Hey everyone, I'm Sarah, and I'm a native English speaker from California. I've been teaching English for over 8 years, and I absolutely love helping people communicate more naturally and confidently.
And I'm Johnny. I'm from London, England, and I've spent the last decade working with English learners from all around the world. Welcome to Native Speakers, the channel where we make learning English fun, practical, and actually useful in real life.
Today, we're tackling something that trips up almost every English learner we've ever met: compliments, and more importantly, how you respond to them. Trust us, this is going to change your conversations forever.
Let's dive in. So, Sarah, let me start with a question. What's the biggest mistake you see English learners make when someone compliments them?
Oh, that's easy. They say, no, 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 and immediately reject the compliment. It happens all the time, and honestly, it makes conversations really awkward.
Exactly. Let me give you a perfect example. Last week, I was having coffee with my friend Ming from China. I complimented her presentation skills, and do you know what she said?
Let me guess. No, no, it wasn't good.
Spot on. She said, no, no, my presentation was terrible. I made so many mistakes. And I was sitting there thinking, but I genuinely thought it was excellent.
See, this is the cultural difference that creates massive misunderstandings. In many cultures, especially in East Asian countries, being humble and modest is extremely important. Accepting a compliment directly can seem arrogant or boastful.
Right, but in English-speaking cultures, whether we're talking about the US, UK, Canada, Australia, or anywhere else, rejecting a compliment can actually be seen as rude or dismissive.
It's like you're telling the other person your opinion is wrong or you have bad judgment.
Precisely. So let's break this down properly. Sarah, imagine I just met you at a business conference, and I say, Sarah, that was an incredible speech you gave. You really captivated the entire audience.
Thank you so much, Johnny. I really appreciate that. I spent a lot of time preparing, so it means a lot to hear that it resonated with people.
Perfect. Did you hear what she did there, everyone? She accepted the compliment graciously, she acknowledged it, and then she added just a little bit of context. She didn't brag, but she didn't reject it either.
Now, let me show you what not to do. Johnny, give me that same compliment again.
Sarah, that was an incredible speech you gave. You really captivated the entire audience.
Oh, no, no, no. It was terrible. I made so many mistakes. I forgot half of what I wanted to say. It was really bad.
Now I feel like an idiot for complimenting you. See how uncomfortable that makes things?
Exactly. When you reject a compliment, you're not being humble. You're actually making the other person feel bad for trying to be nice to you.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I don't want to seem arrogant, and that's a completely valid concern. So let's talk about the different ways you can accept compliments without coming across as full of yourself.
The simplest and most universal response is just, thank you. 2 words, and you're done. Let me demonstrate. Johnny, I love your jacket. That color looks amazing on you.
Thank you. See? Simple, genuine, and effective. The conversation can continue naturally from there.
But sometimes you want to say a bit more. So here's another technique. Thank you plus acknowledgement. Watch this. Johnny, compliment me again.
Sarah, you're such a talented teacher. Your explanations are always so clear and easy to follow.
Thank you, Johnny. That really means a lot coming from you. I try really hard to make things understandable for everyone.
Beautiful. She accepted it, she acknowledged that it matters to her, and she gave a tiny bit of insight into her process. Not arrogant at all.
Now, here's another great technique. Deflect to others or give credit where it's due. This works amazingly well in team situations.
Show me.
Okay, so imagine you're at work. Johnny, you're my colleague. Give me a work compliment.
Sarah, the project you led last month was phenomenal. The client was absolutely thrilled with the results.
Thank you so much. I really couldn't have done it without the amazing team. Everyone brought such creative ideas to the table, especially Maria's design work and Tom's data analysis.
Perfect. You accepted the compliment, but you also shared the credit. This makes you look like a humble team player, not someone who's arrogant.
Exactly. And in professional settings, this is gold. It makes people want to work with you.
Now, let's talk about another scenario that confuses learners. Compliments about your appearance or possessions.
Oh, yes, this is tricky because the response can vary depending on the situation and your relationship with the person.
Right. So, Sarah, imagine we're friends and I say, I love your shoes. Where did you get them?
Oh, thank you. I got them at that little boutique on Main Street. They were actually on sale.
See what happened? She said thank you, answered my question, and even added a fun detail about them being on sale. This keeps the conversation flowing naturally.
But here's where it gets interesting. What if someone gives you a compliment about your physical appearance that you can't control, like your eyes, your height, or your natural hair?
Good question. Let's try it. Sarah, you have the most beautiful green eyes.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you to say.
Simple and genuine. You don't need to explain that you were born with them or that they're genetic. Just accept the compliment.
Now, Johnny, let me hit you with a tricky one. What if someone gives you a compliment that's a bit over the top, like completely exaggerated?
Ah, yes, the hyperbolic compliment. This happens a lot, especially in American culture.
Okay, so Johnny, you're absolutely the most brilliant, amazing, incredible English teacher in the entire world. Nobody explains things better.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know about the entire world, but I definitely try my best to make things clear and helpful.
Perfect. Did you see what he did there? He accepted the compliment graciously, but he brought it back down to earth a little bit. He didn't say, "No, I'm not," but he also didn't fully embrace the exaggeration.
This is what we call gracious humility. You're grateful for the kind words, but you're also realistic about yourself.
Now let's talk about responding to compliments in different contexts. The workplace is very different from social situations with friends.
Absolutely. In professional settings, you want to be polite, gracious, and somewhat formal. Sarah, pretend you're my boss and you just complimented my quarterly report.
Johnny, your quarterly report was exceptionally thorough. The data analysis was particularly impressive.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I appreciate your feedback. I wanted to make sure we had all the information needed for the board meeting next week.
Excellent. Notice how he was professional, he accepted the compliment, and he connected it to the bigger picture of the company's needs.
Now, if we're friends at a casual party, the vibe is completely different. Sarah, compliment my cooking.
Johnny, this pasta is absolutely delicious. Did you make this from scratch?
Thanks. Yeah, I've been experimenting with homemade pasta lately. It's actually easier than it looks.
See the difference? More casual, more conversational, more personal details shared.
Now, here's something really important that we need to address. Backhanded compliments, or compliments that feel a bit uncomfortable.
Oh yes, this is where things get socially complex.
Sometimes people give you a compliment that actually feels like a criticism or makes you uncomfortable. For example, wow, you're so articulate for someone who learned English as a second language.
Yikes. That one has some problematic undertones, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This implies that ESL speakers are usually not articulate, which is inaccurate and disrespectful.
So how do you respond to something like that without creating a conflict?
Great question. You have a few options. You can choose to assume positive intent and say a simple thank you and move on. Or you can gently educate.
Show me the gentle education approach.
Okay, so someone says to me, wow, you're so articulate for someone who learned English as a second language. And I respond, thank you. Actually, many multilingual people are incredibly articulate because they've put so much effort into understanding language structure and communication. I've met some of the most eloquent speakers in my ESL classes.
Brilliant. You accepted the compliment, but you also subtly corrected the misconception without being aggressive or rude.
Exactly. You're educating them while keeping the interaction positive.
Now let's talk about something fun. How to give compliments yourself, because when you know how to give good compliments, you also become better at receiving them.
So true. The best compliments are specific, genuine, and timely.
Let me give you an example of a vague, generic compliment versus a specific, meaningful one. Johnny, you're nice.
Thank you?
See how that fell flat? It's too vague. It doesn't mean much. Now let me try again. Johnny, I really appreciate how patient you are when explaining difficult grammar concepts. You never make people feel stupid for not understanding something right away.
Thank you, Sarah. That actually means a lot, because making people feel comfortable is really important to me.
See the difference? The specific compliment gave him something real to connect with and respond to.
And notice how my response was more genuine and heartfelt because the compliment itself was genuine and heartfelt.
This brings us to another important point: cultural variations in how compliments are given and received.
Right. In British culture, for example, we tend to be a bit more reserved with compliments. We might say something like, "That's quite good," which actually means, "That's excellent."
Whereas in American culture, especially in places like California, we're very generous with compliments. We'll tell complete strangers we love their outfit.
Exactly. So if you're learning English, pay attention to the cultural context. What's normal in New York might be unusual in London.
Now let's practice some rapid-fire compliment responses. This will help you build your reflexes for real conversations. I'll give you a compliment and you respond immediately. Ready?
Ready.
Your pronunciation has improved so much.
Thank you. I've been practicing every day, so that's encouraging to hear.
Good. Your turn to compliment me.
Johnny, you explain things in such an engaging way. You make learning fun.
Thank you, Johnny. I believe that if you're enjoying yourself, you learn so much better, so I try to bring that energy.
Perfect. Now, everyone watching, I want you to pause the video and practice out loud. Imagine someone just complimented your English skills. Say your response out loud right now. Don't just think it, actually say it.
This is so important. Your mouth muscles need to practice forming these responses so that when a real compliment comes your way, you're ready.
Now, let's address a question we get all the time. What if I don't believe the compliment? What if I genuinely think I did a bad job?
This is a really honest question, and I love that people ask it. Here's the thing. When someone compliments you, they're sharing their genuine perception and experience.
Right. Even if you think you made mistakes, if someone else found value in what you did, that's real and valid.
So you can acknowledge both realities. Watch this. Johnny, your presentation was excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Though I did notice a few areas I'd like to improve for next time.
Perfect. He accepted the compliment and validated my perspective, but he also acknowledged his own desire for improvement. That's not rejecting the compliment, that's showing you're reflective and growth-oriented.
Which, by the way, makes you seem even more professional and self-aware.
Exactly. Now let's talk about compliment fishing. This is when someone says something negative about themselves, hoping you'll disagree and compliment them.
Oh, I see this happen so often. It's actually a bit manipulative and puts people in an awkward position.
Right. For example, if someone says, "Ugh, I look terrible today," they're often hoping you'll say, "No, you look great."
And while it's natural to want reassurance sometimes, it's not a healthy communication pattern to fall into regularly.
So if you catch yourself about to fish for compliments, try to reframe it. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at English," you could say, "I'm working on improving my English and I'd love feedback on how I'm doing."
That's so much better. You're being direct about what you need instead of playing games.
Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about returning compliments. This is another area where learners sometimes struggle.
Yes, so if someone compliments you, it's perfectly fine to compliment them back, but it should be genuine, not just automatic.
Show me a forced return compliment versus a genuine one.
Okay, forced version first. Sarah, I love your teaching style.
Thank you. I love your teaching style too.
That felt like you were just saying it because I said it first, right?
Exactly. It feels insincere. Now let me try again. Johnny, I love your teaching style.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You know what I love about your teaching, Johnny? You bring such great British humor into your lessons. It makes even boring grammar topics entertaining.
Thank you. I do think humor is one of the best learning tools we have.
Much more natural, and it shows you're actually thinking about what you're saying. All right, let's talk about one more challenging scenario. Compliments from people you don't know well, or from people whose intentions might not be entirely pure.
Ah, yes, the potentially flirtatious or inappropriate compliment. This is tricky territory.
The key here is to keep your response polite but not encouraging if you're uncomfortable. A simple thank you with no elaboration works perfectly.
And if someone is persistent or crossing boundaries, you can politely end the conversation. Thank you, but I need to get back to work now. Or, I appreciate that, but I'm meeting someone.
You're allowed to set boundaries while still being polite. Being gracious doesn't mean you have to entertain unwanted attention.
Absolutely, and this applies to any situation where a compliment makes you uncomfortable, whether it's about your appearance, your work, or anything else.
Now, let's do a final comprehensive example. We'll have a complete conversation that includes giving and receiving multiple compliments naturally. This will show you how it all flows in real life.
Great idea. Let's set the scene. We're colleagues who just finished presenting together at a conference.
Perfect. I'll start. Johnny, I think that went really well. You handled that tough question about implementation brilliantly.
Thank you, Sarah. I was actually a bit nervous about that part, so I'm glad it came across well. And honestly, your opening really set the perfect tone for the whole presentation.
Oh, thank you. I was hoping it would engage people from the start. I loved how we worked together on the timing, too. We were completely in sync.
We were. I think our practice sessions really paid off. Should we grab some coffee and debrief?
That sounds great. By the way, several people mentioned how clear and well-structured the slides were. Your design work made such a difference.
I appreciate that. I know design isn't usually my strongest area, so I put extra effort into making sure everything was readable and professional looking.
Well, it definitely showed. And that infographic you created for the data section, that was genuinely brilliant. It made complex information so accessible.
Thank you. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. Okay, coffee this way.
Did you all catch that? We each gave and received multiple compliments, and the conversation flowed naturally. We acknowledged each other's contributions, we were specific, and we built each other up.
And notice how neither of us rejected the compliments. We accepted them graciously, sometimes added a little context, and moved the conversation forward.
This is what natural English conversation looks like when people are being supportive and appreciative of each other.
All right, everyone, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. First and foremost, accept compliments graciously. A simple thank you is always appropriate and always enough.
Second, don't reject compliments. When you say, no, 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 you're actually being rude to the person who complimented you, even though you're trying to be humble.
Third, you can accept a compliment without being arrogant. Saying, thank you, I worked hard on that, is not boasting, it's honest, and shows you value your own efforts.
Fourth, be specific when you give compliments to others. Vague compliments like, you're nice, don't mean much. Specific compliments like, I appreciate how patient you were in explaining that, are memorable and meaningful.
Fifth, cultural context matters. British people might be more reserved, Americans might be more effusive, but in all English-speaking cultures, accepting compliments graciously is the norm.
Sixth, you can share credit and still accept the kind words. Thank you, the team did amazing work. Acknowledges others while still accepting the kind words.
And finally, practice out loud. Don't just read about this, actually say these responses out loud until they feel natural in your mouth.
Remember, every conversation is a chance to practice. When someone compliments you tomorrow, use what you learned today.
And if you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe to Native Speakers. We create practical, real-world English lessons every week.
Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video, where we'll be covering another common conversation mistake that trips up learners.
Drop a comment below telling us what's the most difficult compliment for you to accept. We read every single comment.
Thanks for learning with us today, everyone.
Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, you're doing better than you think.